Now we make an introduction of the subject itself, yoga. The first sutra of Patanjali is very rarely understood properly. It is a book of instructions, Anushasana, that is instructions, but many people translate it as discourses. It's not discourse, but it is instruction. It is only the practical side of it is given in Patanjali, how to do it. He has not given what happens when we do this. That's the difference. So it's not a discourse, but it is a book of instructions. That's the reason why you do not find the Kundalini in that book. And the 6 chakras in Patanjali Yoga Sutras or Bhagavad Gita, you don't find the names or explanation of Kundalini and the 6 chakras and other things. Because Kundalini is also a symbolic name given to a particular existence, entity, a consciousness with many energy centers and many layers of awakening. So, the term Kundalini does not indicate anything that is existing physically in us, just as we use the word intelligence. If you take a radio photograph of the brain, you don't find anything intelligence there. See, we use the word will. We say that she is having much willpower. If we take an examination of medically, we can't find something like will as separate from you. We say electricity. We don't find electricity through any of the electrical engineering mechanism. We know only the manifestations of electricity and the arrangement of the apparatus, which is called the electrical generator. We have a procedure to assemble the generator and to make the current flow, and we have methods to use the current for lighting, telephone, etc. We have the procedure and the manifestation through which we can know electricity. Except that you can't say this is electricity. Similarly, you can't say this is Kundalini. That's the reason why the names Kundalini and the chakras are not mentioned at all in Patanjali and Bhagavad Gita. It is only for us to know what to do, how to proceed, how to meditate. That is what is given in Patanjali. So he says it's a book of instructions and not a book of disposition, exposition or anything like that. Conscious contact with the soul is the main aim of the process and the procedure given in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And it is said, some people say that everything is predestined, and what is the use of our making an attempt? Because when it is time for us to make an attempt, we will do it. There is also that argument with some people. See, when everything is natural, the attempt is also natural. So why should we make a particular attempt? What's the use when it's not time? If we can make an attempt, there's no use. It's an idea of fatalism. In the yoga philosophy, this question is also properly analyzed like this. There is always a need to make an attempt. An attempt means a beginning, which is the beginning of the rearrangement of all the directions of energy, and all the psychological intelligences will be rearranged. That is the beginning. So when we begin, we want to do this. I want to have a better life. I want to have a better understanding, a better living and a better relationship. So what should I do for this? I want to have like this. Such a question and such a decision should be made, and Here, a cogency of all the factors in you will take place by making an attempt. So, it is the beginning to make an attempt, and before the contact, the psychic activity is understood as the living being. Before we have a contact with our higher activity and our higher being, our psychic activity is normally understood as our whole, total. That is our mind and mental activity. Mind receiving some ideas and thoughts, trying to put them in practice, knowing some people and understanding some people as our people and some people as foreigners, and understanding some people as our friends, some people as our enemies, some like us, some dislike us. Like this we are understanding before the contact is made, and we do not realize that all this is only our understanding and it is not the objective truth. If I see that somebody is an enemy to me, it is my understanding of the person and not the person itself. We are not conscious of it unless we make in yoga contact with the higher ourselves. If we judge people, if I say she is good and she is bad, that is my image of yourself and the image of yourself and not the person existing there. We see the whole world according to our impression, not according to what it exists there. And this should be changed and an inversion should occur before the contact with the higher self is made. This is not possible because we are always galvanized by the impressions which are the reflections or images. We are amidst the many images. Imagine your surface skin is made up of a big mirror. Then whenever there is a light in the room, you will find light in you. Whenever a person comes there, you will find the person here. Like that we are living before the yoga contact. Because all the mental activity we experience is only a reflected activity and not our real activity at all. Now, first of all, we should have a pause, a rest and a repose of the mind from this reflected activity. Then the mind will be able to try to compose itself into a place where there is real activity, and then understand that it has an activity which is its own, apart from the activity in which it is being spent as reflection. So this is the beginning of the yoga practice. For this, we should find a specific process and procedure. And this lower self, which is non-self, it includes the mind and the senses in the activity. In fact, he believes in fate sometimes, and sometimes he disbelieves. That is, he is a skeptic during some lives, or some years or some decades, sometimes during a whole span of life. And sometimes he is faithful. He has only two alternatives. But sometimes he believes that everything is false nonsense. It is true only that we should eat when we are hungry. We should sleep when we are asleep. And when we work, we should work for our food and dress and housing, because we have to eat when we are hungry and we have to keep warm when it is chill. Except these things, the other things are not in our value unless we know ourselves a little bit. So all our objective activity, vocational activity and the professional activity are bound to be around the basic needs of the physical body. That is the food, the drink, the sleep, the rest, and the sex. And the activity is around these four things. So just as the thumb is useful to all the other four fingers in our daily work, suppose you begin to work with the four fingers, you cannot do it. Each of the fingers are helped by the thumb. Only by the thumb the other fingers are useful to themselves and to us. Similarly, we have the activity of the day, that is when we are awakened, utilized to the four aspects. That is the aspect of food, drink, the aspect of housing, the aspect of sleep, the aspect of sex. And the awakening, the whole thing is spent to provide for these four activities. This is the sum total of all the thousands and thousands of vocations and professions, businesses in the world. If you work as a businessman, if you work as a clerk in the office, a manager, a secretary, whatever it may be, the object is to fulfill these four. So there is no other meaning except these four in the whole life itself before we make a contact with the yoga plane.